Welcome, beautiful dreamer. I'm so glad you're here. This is a space to rest, to dream, and to come home to yourself. I'm Susan Bruck, and I invite you to listen and receive. Simply let the sound, story, and stillness carry you into deeper peace. Hello, my friends, and welcome to this week's podcast. This week, I will be simply sharing my Substack post for this week as I continue to rest and recover my energy. Thank you so much for listening. A seed dreams beneath the frozen earth. My writing group plus 2 prompts equals inspiration. On Friday, my writing group met, the group that formed 3 years ago after we took Natalie Goldberg's Writing Down the Bones course online. We've met almost every week since, writing together in silence and reading our words aloud, without commentary, just presence. I love my writing group. This week's prompts were Valentine's Day and early spring. Glitter, glue, and the Queen of Hearts. As I wrote, I remembered how much I enjoyed sharing Valentine's Day with my daughters and the children in my classes. It has never been much of a romantic holiday for me. Even when I was in a relationship, I somehow never chose romantic men. But I loved celebrating love with little ones. Some years I'd buy doilies, stickers, glitter, jewels, whatever looked fun. Add glue, scissors, and construction paper, and messy fun was had by all. I also recalled the one year I decided to celebrate Rachel and Gabi's birthdays together, both born in February, with a Valentine's party. I think Rachel turned 6 and Gabi 2. They did not enjoy sharing a birthday celebration, so I never did that again. One of the highlights, though, was the 2 heart-shaped papier-mâché piñatas I made. The hearts look perfect in a rustic way, architecturally sound, emotionally symbolic, completely impenetrable. After letting everyone hit them with a broomstick without making a dent, I finally cut them open and poured the candy onto the floor for the children to grab. Valentine's Day Circle. You can find the circle I did with my last kindergarten class on YouTube or in my Substack post. I've shared a link in the show notes, as well as a link to the words in case you'd like to join in. When I made these Waldorf videos, I had to let go of the idea of looking dignified on YouTube. With the kiddos, it wasn't an issue. They loved to be silly and to have adults act silly too. I often find myself wondering what would happen if I offered something like this for grown-ups. What would it look like? Who decided that whimsy and silliness are just for children? I told the story of the Queen of Hearts, based on the nursery rhyme but expanded. In my story, the king and queen loved to dance. In the end, the king, queen, and knave danced together, and then the king and queen tucked the knave into bed. I had a story apron, needle-felted puppets, and even needle-felted tarts. We made Valentine's cards and sometimes sewed felt hearts, stuffed them with lavender, and put them on a ribbon. After a few weeks of this, when Valentine's Day finally arrived, we baked tarts, like the Queen of Hearts, and drank tea. Some years we dressed up or wore crowns. So much fun and such a deep experience of love. But all of these things we did weren't just about crafts and tea, or even raspberry tarts. Deeper reflection, the heart. One thing I hadn't thought about since I left teaching. When Valentine's Day came around in my classroom, it felt like the first glimpse of spring. Not because the weather was changing, it may or may not have been, but the warmth of love permeating our hearts and celebrations felt like what was happening deep beneath the earth. Mother Earth began warming the seeds and roots, not waking them up just yet, but perhaps sending them dreams of spring and warmth and sunshine. I wonder why we act often as though whimsy belongs only to children, why we grow solemn about life and love, why glitter and crowns and heart-shaped tarts are considered frivolous instead of sacred. What if play is a doorway? What if ritual is medicine? The longing. It came home to me how much I missed creating and participating in those joyful events. I loved creating a whole environment that led up to our celebrations, our story, our circle, the decorations in the room. I felt a soft ache at the loss of that connection, remembering how much it had nourished me as well as the children. I felt tenderness for that part of me that longs for that kind of celebration. I even remembered how I used to help create rituals before I even had children, at the yoga studio where I took classes and with my meditation teacher. And I felt myself dreaming inside my cocoon, wondering how I could create these kinds of experiences for adults, for our inner children. How can I bring that delight and connection into the world in a new way? It's a question I'm sitting with. I'd love to hear your thoughts or suggestions. What I miss. Unfolding our connection with earth and stars. Together. Ritual, circle, storytelling, playfulness, being needed, making something beautiful for others. I miss spending time with little ones too, but I know that chapter has closed for me. I no longer have the stamina for that work that brought me so much joy for so many years. Can wonder be for grown-ups? This is what I'm dreaming into right now. How can I create a space of wonder and whimsy for adults? What would playful ritual look like for grown-up people? We all have a child inside us somewhere. What wants to grow? A seed dreams beneath the frozen earth. The earth does not rush the seed that rests in her embrace, trusting Gaia to care for her. Earth warms the seed, holds it safe in the dark until the hard shell softens, until tiny roots poke out below, until the shoot and first leaves find their way into sunshine and air at just the right moment. I am learning to rest and trust. With love, warmth, and blessings, Susan. And that's all for today's podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas about wonder and whimsy in the grown-up world. And once again, thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening to the Beautiful Dreamer Society podcast. Until next time, this is Susan Bruck, and I wish you healing rest, sweet dreams, and deep peace.